So, picture this for a second. You've really put in the hours. You've studied the textbooks. You've memorized all the vocabulary list. You've done the flashcards until your eyes are basically crossed.
Oh yeah, the endless flashcards. We've all been there.
Right. I mean, you know the grammar rules backwards and forwards. On paper, your English is, well, practically perfect.
Right. On paper.
Exactly. But then you step off a plane in a new country, or, you log into a virtual meeting, and a native speaker asks you a super casual question. Instantly, your brain it short circuits, you totally freeze.
It's just a wall of sound.
Yes. The words coming out of their mouth do not sound anything like the English you studied.
Yeah.
It's just this continuous rapid-fire wall of sound, and you're left standing there completely lost, basically wondering what language they're even speaking.
It is arguably like the single most frustrating milestone in language learning. And honestly, if you are listening to this right now and nodding along, you need to know that your frustration is completely valid. Your brain is trying to process this overwhelming amount of acoustic data, and it's just shutting down under the load.
Welcome to English Unfiltered, the podcast where we explore real conversations in English. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie, and today we're diving into exactly why real native spoken English feels so impossibly fast to a learner.
Because, once we break down the actual mechanics of what is happening, we can expose the illusion behind that speed.
And that is the crucial word here, right? Illusion. Because shifting your expectation of what English is supposed to sound like can completely transform your understanding. It turns that impenetrable wall of sound into a rhythm you can actually navigate.
So getting right into it, the root of this problem actually starts long before you ever even talk to a native speaker. It starts with how we're taught.
Oh, absolutely. The textbooks.
Yeah, textbooks and language apps. They basically train you to expect every single word to be its own independent little island. You're conditioned to expect this sort of robot English, where every consonant is super crisp, every vowel is clear, and there are neat little spaces between every single word.
Which, makes total sense from a teaching perspective, right? You have to learn the basic building blocks first.
Yeah, you need the foundation.
Right, but it creates this massive acoustic mismatch later on. Because the reality is that natural speech-like, the way native speakers communicate in the real world, it just does not respect those boundaries. Native speakers actively destroy the edges of words so they can string them together seamlessly.
It's that connected speech thing.
Exactly. Connected speech, it's an optical illusion of language, essentially.
It really reminds me of the difference between photography and film. Like, learning English from a textbook is like studying individual photographs.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah, so you have this perfectly still image, right? The edges are sharp, the lighting is flawless, you can, zoom in and analyze every single pixel. That isolated word is your perfect photograph.
But then conversational speech is like a movie reel playing at 24 frames per second.
Exactly. If you go to a movie theater and try to watch the film by desperately searching for those perfectly still, isolated photographs, you're just going to make yourself dizzy.
Yeah, the movie will just look like a total blur.
Right. You have to stop looking for still photos and just start accepting the motion blur.
I think we can even take that analogy further into the audio world. Expecting textbook English is basically like expecting a pianist to play staccato.
Wait, staccato? Like choppy?
Yeah, exactly. Like they are lifting their finger completely off every single key before pressing the next one. It's super disjointed, but natural English is played legato.
So everything flows together.
Right, the notes bleed into each other. The end of one word literally physically morphs into the beginning of the next one.
Okay, we definitely need to hear this in action. Let's take probably one of the most common everyday questions you will ever encounter.
Oh, I know exactly which one you're going to use.
Right, so if I read it from a textbook, perfectly articulated staccato style, it sounds like this. What do you want to do?
Wow. 6 distinct words.
Yes, 6 separate islands of sound. What do you want to do?
And to a native speaker, delivering that sentence with that level of mechanical precision actually sounds really strange, or even mildly aggressive.
Right, like I'm interrogating you. What do you want to do?
Exactly, it's a bit intense.
So how does that actually sound on a casual Friday evening when you're just trying to figure out dinner plans?
In a natural conversational setting, it sounds like this.
What do you want to do?
What do I want to do? It is literally a different acoustic footprint entirely.
It totally is.
It sounds like a single massive multi-syllable word.
Just look at the sheer amount of phonetic destruction happening there, though. Several distinct processes are occurring all at the same time. Okay, break it down for us. Where do we even start?
Well, you start with what do you. In connected speech, the hard T at the end of what and the D at the beginning of do basically smash together.
Because the mouth is just moving too fast?
Exactly. The tongue doesn't have time to form both of those hard stops, so they blend into this soft, quick flap sound. It just becomes what-a.
What-a.
Oh.
Okay, and then the U loses that hard U vowel and just turns into a lazy yeah.
Right. So we get what-a.
What-a. Okay, then what happens to want to?
Then you hit want to, and the T's just completely drop off the map. It's a process called elision.
Elision. So sounds are just entirely omitted.
Exactly. Omitted for the sake of speed and flow. It morphs into wanna.
So you're left with what I want to do.
Yep. What I want to do.
But wait, let me play devil's advocate for the learner here for a second. When I hear what I want to do, my absolute first instinct is to think, well, that's just slang. Or, maybe it's just a lazy speaker who isn't enunciating properly.
Yeah, I hear that all the time.
Are we basically just talking about bad grammar here?
No, not at all. That is a very common misconception, but it's really important to get this straight. This is not slang, and it is definitely not laziness.
So it's just standard English?
Yes. This is the standard automatic phonetic process of the English language. It's based entirely on articulatory ease.
Meaning what exactly?
Well, the human mouth is an organ, right? And it naturally wants to move from point A to point B with the absolute least amount of muscular effort possible.
Oh, so it's basically a biological efficiency mechanism. It's not an attitude problem.
Precisely. It's just biology doing its thing. So if you are a learner and your brain is desperately searching its mental dictionary for the word what-a, you will literally never find it.
Because what-a doesn't actually exist on paper.
Right. It only exists in the air, generated by the physical momentum of spoken English.
Okay, so if the language itself forces this blurring, what is driving that momentum? Because there's a massive conceptual difference here regarding rhythm.
It's huge. This is the core of it.
I always hear about English being a stress-based or stress-timed language. But, what is the alternative? Why is this such a huge shock to so many learners?
This is where we get into one of those crucial aha moments. Let's look at languages like Spanish or French or Japanese. Those are what we call syllable-timed languages.
Okay, meaning every syllable gets a turn.
Exactly. In a syllable-timed language, every single syllable gets roughly an equal slice of time. The rhythm is very steady, very predictable. Ta-ta-ta-ta.
It sounds a bit like a machine gun.
That's a great way to put it. Yes, like a machine gun. So if your native language is Spanish, your brain is deeply, deeply wired to expect that steady, equal distribution of time for every single sound.
I see. So a Spanish speaker naturally brings that machine gun expectation into an English conversation.
Right, but English is entirely different. English is stress-timed. It operates much more like Morse code.
Morse code, like dots and dashes.
Exactly, a series of dots and dashes. The rhythm of an English sentence is dictated entirely by the strong, stressed syllables, regardless of how many weak syllables are packed in between them.
So it's not really about the number of syllables at all. It's just about hitting those heavy beats on time.
Yes. The strong words, so your nouns, your main verbs, your adjectives, they carry the actual core meaning of the sentence. They get the spotlight.
So they get the extra time.
Yeah, the speaker will literally stretch those words out, say them a little louder, and usually hit a higher pitch. They are the heavy drum beats.
And what about the weak words? Like the prepositions, the articles, the helping verbs.
They become casualties of the rhythm.
Casualties. I love that.
It's true. To keep the distance between the heavy drum beats consistent, all those little grammatical words have to be aggressively squished together. They are reduced. They become incredibly short, soft, and fast.
Okay, let's do an example. So if I say, I am going to the store, going and store are my heavy drum beats, right?
Yep, those carry the meaning.
So to keep that rhythm, the two between them gets completely flattened. I don't say, I am going do store.
Nope, that would ruin the beat.
Right, I say going tada store. The two just turns into this tiny little tada sound.
And that tiny tada sound is heavily reliant on something called the schwa.
The famous schwa.
Yes, it's actually the most common vowel sound in the English language, even though it doesn't even have its own letter. It's just that generic, incredibly relaxed sound.
Just, oh.
Yeah, oh. When English speakers squish those weak words, almost all the vowels degenerate into that lazy schwa sound.
But hold on, I have to challenge this.
Go for it.
If native speakers are just blurring prepositions and articles into a generic sound just to keep the beat, how does anyone actually understand them? Like if to the and at the and in the all just sound like a mumbled schwa, doesn't the actual meaning of the sentence get completely lost?
That is the logical question, isn't it? Like, if the data is being deleted, how is the message actually received? This is where we have to look at how context and predictability work. Native speakers do not rely on perfect acoustics to understand a sentence. They rely on grammatical probability.
Meaning they already know what word is supposed to be there before you even say it.
Exactly. The squished words, the prepositions, the articles, they don't carry the unique meaning anyway. So if you hear, "I'm going mumble store," your brain instantly knows that the missing information is directional.
Oh, right. Because you can't be going under a store.
Exactly. You don't need to perfectly hear to know what's happening. The heavy beats give you all the crucial data, going and store.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The heavy beats are basically the skeleton, and the listener's brain just automatically fills in the squished grammatical tissue between them.
Right. And here's a wild fact. Native speakers are doing this entirely unconsciously.
Really? They don't know they're doing it.
No. If you stop a native speaker and ask them to repeat what they just said, they will almost always slow down and artificially separate the words. They'll say, "I am going to the store," because they truly believe that is what they said the first time.
So they literally cannot hear their own motion blur.
They cannot. To them, their speech feels perfectly normal and completely distinct. They are just letting the automatic rhythm run the show.
Man, this brings us to a massive psychological barrier for the learner. Because if you're listening to this right now, your brain is probably exhausted when you interact with native speakers.
Oh, the mental fatigue is real.
Yeah, and it all comes down to working memory, or what we can essentially think of as your brain's RAM.
Oh, the cognitive load aspect of this is fascinating. Working memory is the mental space where you actively hold and manipulate information, right?
Well, like the short-term storage.
Yeah, and it has a strict hard limit. The average human brain can only hold about 7 individual items in its working memory at one time.
Just 7. That's not a lot.
It really isn't. So if you are a language learner who expects robot English, you're listening for individual words. You're trying to catch word number 1, define it, hold it in your RAM. Then catch word number 2, define it, hold it.
And by the time you get to word number 7, your RAM is completely full.
Exactly. And what happens when your computer's RAM is full?
The system crashes. Everything just freezes up.
You freeze. The native speaker is already on word number 15, but you are still mentally stuck on word number 4, desperately trying to figure out if it was a preposition or an article. You literally just fall behind the conversation.
It's an impossible task. You cannot manually translate a fast-moving, legato, stress-timed language word for word. The math just does not work out.
It really doesn't.
So what is the fix here? How does a learner, upgrade their cognitive RAM?
Well, the trick is you don't upgrade the RAM. You change how you package the data.
Okay, how do we do that?
You have to move from bottom-up processing to top-down processing. Basically, instead of listening for individual words, you have to start listening in chunks.
Chunks. Okay, that word comes up constantly when talking about fluency.
Because it is the ultimate key. A chunk is a group of words that naturally live together and travel together in a language. Native speakers don't build sentences from scratch, word by word, every single time they open their mouths. They use prefabricated chunks.
So, like a phrase such as a piece of cake.
Yes, perfect example. When a native speaker hears a piece of cake, their brain doesn't process a, then piece, then of, then cake.
Right, they don't picture an actual slice of cake.
Exactly. It instantly registers that entire block of sound as a single item that just means easy.
Or something conversational, like, do you know what I mean?
Right. In connected speech, do you know what I mean becomes do you know what I mean? It's just one big blurry chunk of sound.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, that's fast.
But cognitively, treating it as a chunk is a superpower.
Yeah.
If you process it as 6 separate words, it takes up 6 slots in your working memory. If you recognize it as a single chunk, it only takes up 1 slot.
Oh, wow. It's literally data compression. You are zipping the files so they take up less space in your brain.
That is a perfect way to describe it. And that data compression allows your brain to stay incredibly fast and agile during a real-time conversation. You aren't getting bogged down in the microscopic details of the weak words. You're just riding the larger waves of meaning.
This fundamentally changes the strategy for anyone listening, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because it means the ultimate key to understanding native speakers goes against almost everything traditional schooling teaches you. The key is actually not trying to hear every single word.
I really want to highlight that because it's probably the most liberating concept we can offer today. If you try to catch every individual word, you will fail.
That's reassuring.
I know, right? But it's true. You have to give yourself permission to just let the weak, squished words wash over you. You stop hunting for the prepositions on the articles, and you tune your ear entirely to the heavy drum beats.
You know, for a learner who has been beating themselves up for years, thinking, oh, my English isn't good enough, I missed that middle word, I'm failing, this has to feel like a massive relief.
It absolutely should. Because you haven't been failing. You've just been playing a game with the wrong set of rules.
Yeah, you've been trying to solve a puzzle where half the pieces were intentionally hidden by the speaker.
Exactly. It removes so much of the pressure. Once you realize that perfection is an illusion, that the native speaker swallowed half the syllables and slurred the rest together in a flurry of schwas, you can stop demanding perfection from your own ears.
You stop fighting the current, you just start floating with the rhythm.
Yes, you trust your brain's capacity for pattern recognition. You trust that if you catch the strong beats, the core chunks of meaning, your brain will naturally fill in the blanks using context.
So let's pull all this together because we've covered some deeply transformative ground today.
We really have.
Basically, the reason native English feels so impossibly fast is not because you lack vocabulary. It's because textbook English is a sterile, isolated photograph, while real English is a continuous, connected movie.
Right. Words are actively mashed together through elision and assimilation, and it's all driven by that stress-timed rhythm that stretches the important words and aggressively compresses everything else into a blur.
And the cognitive survival tactic here is to stop translating word for word, which just crashes your brain's RAM anyway, and start listening for those larger chunks and heavy beats.
Exactly. Which actually leads me to a final thought and experiment I want to leave everyone with.
Oh, I am always here for an experiment. What is it?
Okay, so the next time you find yourself listening to a native speaker, whether you're watching a film or sitting at a cafe, I want you to try something a little radical.
I love it.
For just 3 minutes, try to completely stop translating. Turn off the dictionary in your head entirely. Do not try to identify the meaning of a single word. Just listen to the raw audio of their speech.
Wait, just the physical sound?
Yes. Close your eyes and just listen to the music of the language. Listen for that Morse code.
That's fascinating.
Ask yourself, where are the strong beats? Where does the sound surge forward, and where does it pull back into a soft, mumbled schwa? Tap your finger to the heavy drum beats. Feel the melody rising and falling.
Just let the rhythm take over.
Because here is the provocative question to walk away with. Can learning to feel the physical, musical rhythm of a conversation actually teach you more about fluency than staring at a textbook ever could?
When you stop fighting the speed, you can finally join the dance. I mean, that is an incredible note to end on. To everyone listening, give yourself some grace. You are likely doing far better than you think. You just needed to see the illusion. We hope this makes your next conversation a little less intimidating and a lot more rhythmic.
Just keep listening for the music.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Keep exploring, and we'll see you next time on English Unfiltered.